How does it feel to speak out about things that are passionate to you? And what has the response been?
You're not supposed to do this, but I made this pact with God. I was much younger, and I was just like, look, God, like, if you make me famous, if you make me a singer, and you give me Grammys and stuff, like, I will do your word. It's just like, okay, you got to hold up your end of the bargain. Like, what difference are you going to make in this world? What change are you going to make?
Right.
The first thing that I ever spoke out about was bullying, and I think as time went on, I started speaking about more and more things that I felt passionate about, and
Or things that were affecting you as
or
well.
were affecting me. Yeah,
Like mental health, I thought was a really important
yes,
one.
definitely mental health. Then people started calling me like problematic. They would be like, "Oh, she complains about everything. You can't please everybody. You just got to stay true to yourself."
What has your faith been like for you walking through this chapter of life?
My faith has been renewed a lot over the past year and a half of my life. I have never experienced miracles firsthand. Like, I've heard about them.
Right.
I think when you go through something that's so life altering, and when the end result is something that no one was expecting, I think that's a miracle. And I think it's a miracle I'm sitting here today. So my faith was so renewed by everything that I went through. And then I also just had a trip where I went to Israel, and I got baptized in the River of Jordan.
Oh, chills.
Yeah, where Jesus got baptized.
That's so
and
beautiful.
it was all these places that I had just grew up reading about in the Bible. My Aunt Kathy and my Uncle Jason took me to this church convention, this Pentecostal church convention, when I was a preteen. And they were like, "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "I'm literally laying around watching TV, nothing." They're like, "Come to this church convention." And I was like, "Okay." So we went. I'm the only kid in our little group, right? So I have to go to the youth service, and they go to the adult service. I'm like, all right, y'all didn't tell me that.
Right.
Like, you're going to leave me when we get
We're
here? That's not fair.
separated.
Exactly.
Rude.
I'm in this youth service with a couple hundred kids, and I don't know anybody, but I'm just like standing there in the back. And then this woman starts speaking in tongue, and I can't remember if she was translating or the woman next to her. But anyways, this woman, she prophesied over me, and the translation was, first of all, she pointed to me. I'm in the back of the room, and she said, "Come here." And so I'm like, oh, God. No
Like,
pun
I'm in
intended.
trouble.
Yeah, I'm like, what did I do? She puts her hand on my head, and she starts speaking in tongue. The translation was, "You're going to be a hero to thousands of people someday through art." And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, music. I know. You're telling me this, but I already know it. She just looks at me, and she goes, "Are you ready?" And I was like, yes, I'm ready. Like,
Wait, but I got chills again when she
you're
said,
going to
"Are you
get even
ready?"
more chills because the story gets better. So I go home. I'm like, wow, that was wild. Like, I tell my aunt and uncle. They're like, you need to write this down, whatever. So a couple years go by. I auditioned for 2 projects in the same day, and then I fly back home to LA or to Texas from LA to wait to hear. Right, like I'm waiting to hear.
Because this is still when you're auditioning.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'm 14 here. I go to the water park one day, and I get sunburned, so I go to Walgreens. I am horrible at telling stories. I will give you every detail.
I'm kind of like here for it. So
Okay,
keep going.
great. So I go into Walgreens, I get my like aloe vera, but as I'm like going in on the welcome mat, you know, the big black mat in front of the opening doors, there's this business card, and it's just this black business card with yellow writing that says, "Are you ready?" With a question mark. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I knew exactly what that was. So I picked it up, I flip it over, and it's got a Bible verse on the back of it. Like, it's not like for like some landscaping company, you know what I mean?
Do you remember what Bible verse it is? Oh,
it was about Judgment Day.
Okay.
So
Revelation or something?
Yes, it didn't have necessarily anything to do with my career, but I
Maybe
like
something later in life.
But I saw this card and it said, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm ready, God. And literally a couple days later, I got the phone call that I booked not only one of the gigs, but both of them. One was Camp Rock and one was Sunny with a Chance.
Oh my gosh!
And that was a week later. And then when I did my first tour manager or production manager would always say to me, he'd give me my microphone before I went out on stage, and he'd go, "Are you ready?" Yeah, it was just like so wild that everything came out that way. You know?
This is miracle. This is what that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is God shining his light and saying, like, hey, I've got your back, sister, no matter what.
Yeah.